Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Currie Cup Round 8 review. Quite an interesting round with some very decisive results, quite a few close games, with the biggest margin of winning being the 7 points that the Sharks beat the Bulls by down in Durban in an epic clash. Very, very close games. We had the Lions that have just beat the Griquas. We had the Western Province who literally edged the Cheetahs by just 1 point. And the log is looking very, very interesting as a result. Before we look at the log, the results, and the fixtures to come, please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. And we will be live tonight for our sort of wrap up of the British and Irish Lions series. We're going to do a bit of an award show. We will also be launching our new brand deal on it, so it should be a very, very exciting show. So make sure you come and hang out. But without any further ado, if we look at the last weekend, we started off with the Lions traveling to Kimberley against the Griquas with nothing besides a win going to be enough for them to try and sort of keep themselves in a semi-final race, really. And they came out firing at the Lions, where they scored a couple of early tries and looked like they were going to put the Griquas to bed fairly early on. However, a late surge from the Griquas saw them snatch 2 points. The Lions going out bonus point victors, but unfortunately, a bit of a leaky defense meant that the Griquas comeback still got them 2 points. And I think that was almost as important for the Lions to get that bonus point win as to try and deny the Griquas any points themselves. So the fact that the Griquas got 2 points was huge for the Griquas, but really detrimental to the Johannesburg side, who needed to try and make sure that the Griquas were going to come away with nothing and try and sort of catch up and get themselves to the mid and top of the table. But it still was a very important victory for the Lions. They're definitely still in the semi-final sharp, but they have to go on a very, very good run. Which we'll talk about their fixtures for tomorrow. Then the Sharks took on the Bulls on Friday night in wet conditions, and Lionel Kinnear put on a brilliant display, as well as Grant Williams, who was man of the match. That halfback pairing was sensational. Johan Goosen struggling quite a bit in rainy conditions, and the Bulls sort of never really got going. And a fantastic second half performance from the Sharks saw them storm into a 35 to 28 bonus point victory. The Bulls getting a losing bonus point, but coming away with just 1 point from Durban. As a result, the Sharks will go to the top of the log. And on the weekend, a tri-fest down in Cape Town saw the Western Province edge the Cheetahs by just a single point. 40 points to 39 is how that game finished. A very, very close clash. And the Cheetahs, I think, played well enough to get enough points and to win the match. They'll be quite frustrated that they'll come away with only 2 points, because they are also almost out the running really of the semi-finals, and unless they get some momentum, they lose another 1 or 2 games, that could be their semi-finals done. They do have a game in hand on the other side, on the other teams, but they need to try and start making these games count. So if we look at how the log now currently looks, the Sharks have gone to the top of the log, ironically only winning 3 matches, the same as the Pumas, who are currently in 6th. But those 3 matches that were cancelled by the Sharks have really actually done them quite a lot of good, because it's given them those sort of 4 points for winning. And as a result, they sit on top of the log, 30 points. The Bulls with 4 wins second on 29 points. If they had that losing, if they managed to score that 4th try, for example, they would have got that 30 points. They would have been leveled things up. The Griquas, thanks to those 2 points, are sitting clear in 3rd place, despite the West Province getting the win on 26. It would have been 24 had the Griquas gone down, and then suddenly they would have been quite catchable. But now they are sort of creating a little bit of space, and I mean, it's 5 points between the Lions and the Griquas, so it becomes quite important in terms of tomorrow. In terms of tomorrow, could be a very big sort of moment in terms of the teams moving and stuff like that quite a bit. So we've got the Western Province, who are currently in 4th. They're just 1 point ahead of the Lions. And the Lions, thanks to that victory, are now on 21 points, 1 point ahead of the Pumas, and the Cheetahs 16 points. So, I mean, if you look at 4th to 7th, all these teams can still go for the semi-finals, but you got to look at like the Cheetahs, for example. That game in hand, for example, it suddenly put them 20 points. If Pumas were to win that game in hand, they could be in 24 points. So it's very, very close in the sort of 3rd and 4th position. And Sharks and Bulls starting to try and create a little bit of daylight at the top of the table there. But I think if you look at the points difference, that tells quite a big story. And the fact that the Lions, their biggest issue have been not necessarily been scoring points, but they're just conceding far too many tries. That's why they lost to the Griquas. That's why they lost to the Pumas. They've scored tries, but their defensive structures are a little bit nowhere. Whereas you're looking at a side like the Pumas, you aren't actually conceding as many points as you might sort of imagine. And the Cheetahs, minus 21, West Province minus 6. So those are sort of the big issues that they'll try and fix. But the Sharks were a very impressive performance on Friday. I think they sort of staked their claim for Currie Cup and said, listen, it's not going to be a one-horse race with the Bulls. You can go the distance. For everybody else, it's kind of, the last 4 sides jostling for those 2 positions. In terms of fixtures, and the reason why I said it's going to be a very interesting week ahead is that we've got the likes of the Griquas and the Pumas and the Lions and the Cheetahs, those sort of 4 sides who are quite sort of jostling for those last sort of two positions, either playing the top two or playing each other. So tomorrow we'll see the Pumas taking on the Sharks. So the Sharks taking on the Pumas. You think that if the Pumas lose that match, that could be not necessarily the end of the campaign, but that would be a major drawback, especially if they can't get any points. If they can get 2 losing bonus points, for example, they could still be in the hunt. But the Bulls then taking on the Griquas. Now, if they were to ensure the Griquas got no points, the Bulls could suddenly surge to 34 points, create quite a lot of distance. So we could have the Sharks with 35, 34 points if they were to seal bonus point victories. Then the Cheetahs are hosting the Lions tomorrow. So that's a massive game, because if the Cheetahs beat the Lions, they can either draw level or sort of get a point or two behind the Johannesburg side. But if the Lions can go to Bloemfontein and get a victory, they can get themselves up to 25 points. Where if the Griquas lose a game, they suddenly be in that top 4. And the pressure will then be on the Western Province this weekend to respond and to try and come back and overtake the Lions. So it's a very important week tomorrow. In terms of the Lions, they can try and put on some scoreboard pressure. They can get a victory there. Sharks and Bulls can really do a lot tomorrow to try and almost sort of solidify their positions at the top of the log and ensure that they have home semi-finals for the Currie Cup. So we're starting to get into the sort of crunch time. We still have got lots of fixtures to go. We've got more fixtures this weekend, midweek, but it's all sort of happening the rest of the month. So we've got sort of 3-4 weeks left. So not a lot of games left to play. All teams will play 12 games in total, so sort of 4 and 5 games each, with the semi-finals scheduled for the 4th of September. So it is starting to sort of get crunch time, and they can make some big moves. It all comes down to, can you sort of mount some late charges? And I'm very interested to sort of see the Lions run them, because they've got quite a difficult one with the Cheetahs tomorrow, Bulls this weekend, and then Western Province. Now that Western Province game next weekend could be sort of the decider whether they can get themselves into the semi-finals. Equally, the Western Province, if the results don't go the right way for them, they could also be playing for a place in the semi-finals. Griquas, for all they've been really good, they've got some tough fixtures coming up. In the Bulls tomorrow, then they've got the Cheetahs, and then they've got the Western Province, who they've beaten already, but they finished against the Pumas in the last week. So there's definitely a chance for the Griquas to still make top 4. But these other sides, the United Rugby Championship sides, have got a lot of pride on the line apart from anything else, and they'll need to try and mount a bit of a charge. Sharks, Bulls, the definite favourites moving forward, and I think they'll sort of continue to top those logs. Let me know what you thought of the Currie Cup so far. Smash like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel. We will be live tomorrow for the Pumas versus the Sharks game, and Hoppers 2, as well as the Cheetahs versus Lions game at 7 o'clock. So you can come and hang out with us then. And then this weekend, we will be live for both Rugby Championship games. We'll be live on Sunday for Sharks versus Cheetahs, as well as Western Province versus Pumas. So lots and lots of live coverage coming your way. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.